Courtney at womenlivingwell.org, home of Good Morning Girls, and today I want to talk about how to lead a small group Bible study. I attended the Moody Bible Institute and I got a degree in evangelism and discipleship, but really I feel like I learned how to lead a small group study once I did it in real life. So at the age of 21 and 22 and 23, I began to learn that when you have a group of women, you get all sorts of personalities in a room and you can't know what to expect. You have to learn really by experience. You know, there's always that woman that's super chatty during prayer time who's sharing about something that maybe you all don't understand, or you don't even understand who the person is they're talking about because they're a friend of a friend. Sometimes there's that debater in the group. There's the person who wants to challenge what you have to say, and that's a little scary. Sometimes you have a big group and they're really quiet. It's like crickets in the room and you don't know how to get them to talk. It's like pulling teeth. Other times no one shows up but like one, and it's super awkward because you planned a lesson and now you don't know how to have a discussion. So these things happen. You can't always prepare for them, but through experience you begin to learn. Now there are 3 different kinds of Bible studies that you can find out there. There are those, if you go to a Christian bookstore, you're going to find tons of awesome resources. We are so blessed. There's those in-depth Bible studies where the women do homework every day. They come ready for a robust conversation because they've done their homework, and then there's a nice DVD, so you don't really have to teach. There's a teacher already there, and so that's when you're a facilitator. You're just leading the discussion. Then there are things we call like book studies or book clubs where, for example, just saying, if you use my book, Women Living Well, you would have the women read a few chapters a week, and then there's a free companion study guide on my sidebar, commercial, and there's discussion questions there. And so if women aren't ready necessarily to do like a day-by-day Bible study, they might be ready to do just something light like that, where they just read a few chapters, they don't have to write a lot down, and there's discussion questions there where you literally, there's Bible verses you can read together, and open-ended questions. That's the key to a good conversation, open-ended questions. They're already there for you, and that's a great way to go. Or you could do a real Bible study where you just open the Bible and you guys read the book of Philippians or something like that together. If you're going to do a Bible study where you don't use any resources and you're just using God's Word, then it does take a little more skill, like in having the gift of teaching. Because now you're really getting down to the brass tacks of teaching God's Word. But again, there's so many resources out there to help you. It's a great way to go. All right, so there's those 3 different studies, and there are different reasons why women come to Bible study. So women come because they don't know the Lord and they're seeking God. Others might come because they're going through a hard time in life and they're needing encouragement. They have a loss or something they're going through. Maybe it's a woman who needs out of the home. She's home with her kids and she's just looking for adult conversation. Or maybe the woman is in a workplace and it's dark, and she needs to just come to be with a group of Christian women where she can find a reprieve and a place of encouragement. Sometimes older women join who, they've been in Bible study for 30 years and you think, come on, you could probably lead this. And so they can be intimidating because they know God's Word so well, but really they may not feel led to lead, and they want to be there though to share their wisdom and to encourage the other women. It's all so important. It's good to know why the women in your group are there. So in the first week, I always like to ask women to share like their name, a little something about themselves, and why did you join this group? And then you can know and you can meet those needs, and that's just good. Now, when you're a leader, there are 2 things you have to do. You're going to manage prayer time and you're going to lead the Bible study. So, managing prayer time, we all know that it can be a hard task. It matters how many women are in your group. If you have 5 or 6 women, chances are it should be manageable. If you get into 15 or 20 women, it can get a little bit difficult because there's so many prayer requests and sometimes women can't talk long. So, if you have a small group, you stay together, you share prayer requests, you pray out loud together. If you have a large group, it might be helpful if you don't have time, because it's all also about time, how much time you have. If you have 30 minutes to devote to prayer time, that is awesome, do that. But if you find that you're limited on time and you only have 15 minutes, you may need to take the group and divide them into 3 separate groups, let them put their chairs in circles, share right there, and that's really great to be one-on-one and just be able to share like that, and let them pray in their small groups together. Some people like to put prayer time at the end based on how much time they have left, then they can, let that prayer time be long or short. I like to start my Bible studies with prayer time. I really like to get the temperature of how are women doing, what's been going on in their week. As you lead the study, it's good to know what's going on so you can be sensitive or see if maybe God's speaking to something someone's going through. So I like to open in that way, and then if a lot of women share, then I say the prayer. And that way I don't necessarily pray for every single situation that's happening, but I might say the names of the women and pray and lift them up to God just by name. But if there's more time and not a lot of women shared, I might ask if a few women would consider, please, we'll go to God in prayer, and if a few of you would pray for these prayer requests, and then you can spend a really nice, sweet time of prayer together. So prayer is important. It's a really great way to connect with each other. Remember that you don't want to, oftentimes people send out an email like the list of prayer requests for women maybe who missed. Always have permission to do that, because there could be something private that they shared there that they don't want in an email that could be shared with someone else. So make sure you have permission if you're sending prayer requests out in an email. Now finally we have leading the Bible study. The way, I just have one Bible study book here that I thought I would show you how I lead a study. This is a more in-depth one where we had day 1, day 2, and day 3, day 4, and day 5 homework. So I do my homework for the week, and then I literally write out my script of what I'm going to say. So I write, like at 9:45, we're going to do our introductions and we're going to do an icebreaker. At 9:55, we're going to break into 3 groups and we're going to pray. At 10:05, I'm going to end prayer. Then I begin my lesson, and I have written, how did your homework go this week? Were you able to get it all done? So that's kind of like my opening, like as they're opening their, and they're nodding their heads, and some are like, no, I didn't get it done. It's kind of nice to know. If they shake their head no or yes, you kind of have a feel for what's going on. And then I say, let's look at day 1 together on page 9. And I circled number 1 on there, and I'll ask someone if they'll read that question out loud. And then we begin the discussion. And usually I've picked 10 good, open-ended questions. About 10 good questions, what you need for a good discussion for about a half an hour. But I like to, at home when I'm preparing, like for these questions, I think of stories that could go along with it, other Bible verses that could go along with my answer, or other quotes. And I kind of hold them on reserve. And if I have a chatty group who's really talking and sharing, I zip it and I don't share my story, I don't share my Bible verses, I don't share my extras. But if I have a group that's kind of quiet, then I'll share my story. And I'll share an extra Bible verse to kind of fill time, but not just for time filler, to teach, So you kind of have to be prepared. So for all 10 questions that I'll choose for discussion, I'll plan something special to share on those so that I have a little extra to add to it if they don't have anything to share. So that's how I do it. I just, I literally write down, now turn to page 14, number 6. I write, go to page 14, number 6. It even helps me figure out where am I going? Where am I going next? Because sometimes you get there and you got butterflies in your stomach and you can't remember what you were going to say. So I like to write it down and write in the margins and plan where I'm headed and what I'm doing to guide myself. So leading a Bible study, it's not hard. It takes a lot of time, takes a lot of preparation. It takes prayer, praying over the lesson, and trusting God, knowing that His word does not return void. And though you can't see in the moment how God is transforming lives, He is, because He says that His word transforms us. So keep leading, keep working hard, and keep walking with the King.